So normally when I hear a movie's been made about a game franchise, I don't hold out much hope. But I did check out the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and it was actually pretty good. Like, it wasn't great, it wasn't fantastic. I get that Five Nights at Freddy's is a cult classic, and it's got its we'll just call it its group of people that will utterly worship anything they do. But this one was not bad. It was rated a PG-13 movie. It definitely went along those guidelines. It wasn't anything spooky or spectacular, but I did enjoy the movie. And there was some concern because the studio that made this went straight to streaming first and did release it in movie theaters. So the expectation was for it to do very poorly, but it's done actually really well. I think this might actually be a bigger hit than the Marvels movie coming out. So we're going to go over this article. I'm going to talk a little bit about the movie. We're going to go over the numbers that it's producing. But before we do, guys, make sure you smash that like button, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share this video out. Now, with all that being said, let's get into it. Film based on horror survival video game is a surprise box office hit. Five Nights at Freddy's, which sold an estimated 78 million tickets in North America alone, reinforced moviegoers' desire for something other than a sequel. Holy shit, the New York Times was spot on with something. An evil pizzeria mascot, Freddy Fazbear, became a surprise box office sensation over the weekend, reinforcing a message that moviegoers have been sending Hollywood all year. Well, for a couple of years, but you're not that bright, so I'll give you that. Give us something new. Five Nights at Freddy's sold an estimated 78 million in tickets at theaters in the US and Canada from Thursday night to Sunday, a total that prompted double take in Hollywood because the movie did not play exclusively in theaters. Five Nights at Freddy's, which is based on a popular horror survival video game, also arrived on the Peacock streaming service on Thursday. So like I said, it went straight to streaming and in theaters. I know there's like a cult following for Five Nights at Freddy's. I thought it would at least make its budget back. I didn't think it would do numbers like this. But it did. That's kind of surprising. This is more a confirmation that moviegoers are looking for something new, or to be precise, getting the chance to see something they love already appear in a movie theater for the first time. In contrast, The Exorcist Believer, an effort to revive a 50-year-old horror franchise, flopped an exclusive release in theater earlier this month, collecting just $26.5 million in its first 3 days. Simultaneously, availability in theaters and in homes became common during the pandemic. Well, we're not in the pandemic. We haven't been for years. Anybody who uses that excuse is just fucking coping. But most studios, at the demand of theater owners and some filmmakers, have returned to the traditional way of releasing movies, first in theaters for an exclusive run, then online for rental and purchase, and then on streaming. The worry is that people will be reluctant to buy tickets if they have the option to watch the same film at home. Absolutely. I still think this movie would have done way more than 130 mil worldwide if it had done theaters exclusively. Five Nights at Freddy's collected an additional 53 million overseas for a global total of 131 million, according to ComScore, which compiles box office data. The PG-13 film, directed by a relative newcomer, Emma Tammy, cost Blumhouse and Universal Pictures about 20 million to make, and roughly 50 million in marketing worldwide. Yeah, so it made double its budget. It's going to do more. I guarantee it. And those are just the box office numbers. We don't have anything from the streaming platforms. NBC Universal, which owns Peacock, declined to provide viewer numbers for Five Nights at Freddy's. The company said, however, that the movie was Peacock's most watched content over the weekend and that it was tracking to have the biggest opening ever for a film on Peacock. Any other movie, I'd say they're full of shit. This one, I think they might actually be telling the truth. So for anybody who isn't aware of the game, now I've watched it played. I don't run the game. I haven't played it. It doesn't seem like my type of game to play, but I have watched people play it, right? Because that's what I do for video games. I usually let someone else get them first, watch how they play it, watch how it plays, and then get the game if it's for me. This one didn't seem like it was for me, and it's kind of like a campy game, right? You're a security guard, you're watching cameras, you're trying to survive the night against these living animatronic creatures that just want to murder you. Now, that's kind of how the movie starts. There's some plot, some character introductions. There's some, trying to take a game and make it into a movie. And the movie doesn't really start to pick up until about 30 to 45 minutes in. The movie's only about an hour and a half long. So, without giving too many of the spoilers, guy gets a security gig, finds out weird shit's happening, starts having really weird dreams. Shit happens. He has to bring his kid's sister that he has to watch. He wakes up after taking a nap to find her playing with living animatronic dolls. And these things are like 7, 8 feet tall. Freaks the fuck out, like any normal person would. Now, there's a whole plot line behind it. Anyway, some people get bit in half by animatronic dolls. Some dudes are getting fucking murked by these things. It goes into a PG-13 horror movie, which wasn't that bad. I'd give it a round of applause. I think I'm going to go into spoilers at the end of this because, like I said, I was impressed at how good it was. I don't think it's a fantastic horror movie, but I didn't think it was terrible. But before I give away those spoilers, let's go to the numbers and see how everything is tracking. So here's currently where we're at. The domestic box office sitting just under 80 million at $78 million. The international box office at 52.5 million for a grand total of $130.5 million. So, like they said, it was only 20 million to make. They're saying they did 50 million in marketing. I honestly didn't see that much marketing for it, but let's just call it 50 mil. So they've already made their money back, absolutely killing it, which is why I said they really shouldn't have put this on streaming at the same time as movie theaters. I think this might have done $250 million, 250 million, 300 million, easy. Like, I know the Five Nights at Freddy's, we'll call them fans, are absolutely obsessed with this entire series. There's a bunch of video games out for it. I honestly think they're probably going to watch it 2 or 3 times in theaters. So on its Thursday release, it did only hit 10.3 million. Friday, it hit nearly 40 million. Saturday, 24 million. And then Sunday closed out at 14 million. So it's hitting some fucking numbers in the box office. That's for damn sure. Yeah, and I can't express this point enough. If they had not gone straight to streaming with it, this probably would have been a contender for movie of the year. Like, it's no Barbenheimer. It's not a fucking meme of itself. It's just a decent movie. And I hate saying that because I want to bitch about every movie they make that's based off a fucking video game. And I really can't. All right, so I think I'm going to get into some of the spoilers here. If you don't want me to spoil the movie, check out now. But before you check out, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section if you're going to see this movie, if you have no interest in this movie. But if you're skipping the spoilers, I think you're interested. So let's get into it. So like I said, guy's working security jobs, gets fired from everything, has to take care of his kid's sisters, eviction notice, all sorts of bullshit. His sister's playing with these animatronics where he figures out they're alive. He freaks the fuck out. Insert random woman who is a police officer that says, yeah, well, we know they're alive, but nobody will fucking believe us, so we just kind of leave them here and tell everybody to stay the fuck out. So while he sleeps on the job like a normal fucking security guard, he has these extremely vivid dreams. And that's where you start to find out more of the plot, that these things are alive because the bodies and souls of kids are feeding these dolls, and that's what brings them to life. Through it, you find out that the guy who owned the shop was the one kidnapping kids to put them into these things. And the owner is still technically alive. The girl kind of implies that he's coming for more kids and he wants more kids than these fucking dolls, and he's like building some weird fucking army of animatronic murderous dolls. Weird as shit. I don't know. I don't fucking get it, but I'm not one of the fans, so it is what it is. But there are some horror scenes. You watch people who break in, get utterly bit in half, torn apart, limb from limb, blood everywhere, but to a PG-13 level, so you don't actually see somebody's face getting ripped off like you do in Saw. Jump to the end of the movie, he figures out he's got to essentially kill the owner, which you find out is the guy who hired him for the security job at some recruiting firm, who is played by Matthew Lillard, which I haven't seen in a movie in so fucking long. I was like, oh shit, he looks old as fuck. But anyway, they end up killing him. The dolls stay alive. Everybody leaves happy, a big happy family. Like I said, it's not a great movie. It's not one of the crazy R-rated horror films. It's not a gore porn movie. It's actually just a decent movie. I didn't have much criticism of it. The intro felt a little drawn out, but I wasn't upset. Like it fell into place. I wasn't bored through the movie like some of the weird Rotten Tomatoes people were. Like it was just an okay movie. I would watch it again, but I probably wouldn't pay to watch it again in theaters. Once was enough for me. But if somebody asked me, would you recommend watching this movie? I would absolutely say yes. Go watch the movie. There's nothing wrong with it. I didn't see any wokeness. I didn't see any of the crazy fucking gender and race swapping stuff. Like everything just seemed to fit perfectly like a movie should. But again, those are my thoughts. And I think I'm going to end the video here, guys, but I do want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. If you've seen it or you're planning to go see it, let me know. And let me know what you thought of the movie if you did see it. Because I didn't think it was that bad. But make sure you drop me a like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share this video out. And until the next one, be easy like sleazy.